Hello everybody, welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampa Blondie, and I'm so excited to kick off my annual Halloween crafting series with you here today. Now, I hope you all had an amazing weekend. It's finally October. I cannot believe it. It feels like August kind of flew by, September kind of flew by, and we are actually in October. So Christmas is coming up soon, but before we hit Christmas time, we still have lots of other holidays to craft for. And today I'm going to kick off with my annual Halloween crafting series. Each year, I do a couple weeks of Halloween projects to get you in that spooky season mood, and today we're going to kick it off with the Bag of Bones bundle from the September through December mini catalog. Now let me just make sure that I'm live here on Facebook. I'm also live over on YouTube, so if you're watching on either of those, let me know that you're watching. Comment hi, let me know. Looks like I am good to go on Facebook. Probably good to go on YouTube then as well. So hi Diana, hi Dawn, hi Kathy, thank you all for watching. Roz is watching from Florida. I hope you are having some nice sunny weather there today. It actually felt like fall here in Tucson today. It only got to 87 degrees. Now some of you may be saying that's not really fall, but when you hit 112, 113 degrees in the summertime, 87 feels spectacular. So we have a few days of about high 80s and then we're back into the low 90s at the end of this week, but I will take any fall day that I can get here in Tucson while we have them. All right, I have a couple of quick things to go over before we jump into our project. So let's go ahead and swap the camera and we will go over those. All right, the first thing is my October Club Craft and Create. So I announced this last week. This is my monthly class that I host. And from August, September, October, November, we create holiday projects so that by December, you are all ready to go for holiday cards, ready to send those out. So this month we are featuring the Sparkling Snowflakes stamp set. Now, if you have my class schedule, you may have noticed this was a November class that I had scheduled for club, but the original bundle that I was going to focus in October was unavailable, so I swapped October and November, and we will be doing Sparkling Snowflakes this month. So this stamp set is actually a bundle, but we're only going to be focusing on the stamp set. And in Club Craft and Create, you create 4 different projects, 2 each of those, and this is offered in person here in Tucson or virtual no matter where you live in the United States. The virtual class offers a Zoom event so you can craft along with me, and it's also recorded so you can work on these projects on your own pace. Now here's just a kind of quick sneak peek of the projects that we will be creating. Now what you see here, all supplies are subject to change based on product availability. I know some of the items, this ribbon we may have to swap out, but I have another backup silver ribbon already on my mind that we would use instead. So these are the projects that we'll be creating featuring the Sparkling Snowflake stamp set. If you are interested in Club Craft and Create, deadline to register is October 8th. Coming up this, I think that's Sunday. This coming Sunday is the deadline to register for this. And we have 1 month left of holiday projects. And then December, we will get back to non-holiday projects for Club Craft and Create. So if you are not a part of that, or if you want more details, there is a link in the description of this video. You can click on that and it gives you all the details of what Club Craft and Create offers, and then what you get as being part of the Club Craft and Create Club. All right, next up, it hasn't even debuted yet. This will debut starting tomorrow. This is Stampin' Up's 35th anniversary year as a company, and because of this, Stampin' Up is offering a starter kit promotion for the 35th anniversary. Now, the starter kit is the way to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Now, I want to put a big asterisk on the word demonstrator because as a demonstrator, you are not required to host classes or teach events or do any kind of, quote, demonstrating. You can be what I call a happy shopper and purchase items for yourself at the demonstrator discount of 20%. Now, the Stampin' Up! Anniversary Special, it is a kind of a two-part special. They are offering the starter kit promotion in two different ways. The first way is $35 off of the kit. So our normal kit price is you get $125 worth of your choice of products for $99. That is the normal kit every other month but October. So 35% off of $99 is $64.35. So you still get $125 worth of products in your choice for $64.35. Or you can choose 35% more product in your starter kit. So you still get the starter kit for $99, but instead of $125 worth of your choice in products, you then get 35% more, and it's $168.75 of products for $99. I know it's kind of a little confusing. That's why I added these little boxes down here to kind of differentiate. So as a demonstrator on the Stampin' Blondie team, you get so much. So I have a private Facebook group for our team. We have monthly team gatherings, both in person and virtual. And we also have fun at different events and just a lot of fun crafting together with each other. I love to spoil and recognize my team for their efforts. So if you have been wanting to become a demonstrator, or your wish list is long and you want to get a great deal on crafting supplies, this is the best time to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Like I said, no requirement to teach classes, host events, do Facebook Lives. You can be a part of the happy shoppers and just purchase your own supplies at 20% off. So if you are interested in this, or if you have questions about what it means to be a demonstrator, I would love to have a one-on-one with you and go over any questions you may have. So if you are interested, make sure to comment below and or send me a message and I can give you all the details. All right. Prize Patrol. So each week I do something called Prize Patrol, where if you share my video and comment that you shared, you're entered into Prize Patrol. It's that easy. Now, last week, our Prize Patrol were the Tinsel Gems 3-pack. These are embellishments from our annual catalog, and they come in Coastal Cabana, Highland Heather, or Fresh Freesia. I think it's Fresh Freesia, and Misty Moonlight. So these have some little flecks of like iridescent inside of them. So the winner of last week's Prize Patrol is Susan Walker. So congratulations, Susan. I'm not sure if I have your address. All you have to do is send me a message with your address and I will pop that into the mail for you. Now, this week's Prize Patrol these are called the Plenty of Patterns Decorative Masks. Now, I don't want to open them because opening them is for the winner, but these are stencils that you can use with our embossing paste. You can use with inks and sponges, brayers, however you like to spread your ink or mediums on projects. These are stencil masks that you can use over and over again. They are plastic, so all you have to do is rinse them off after each use and then let them dry, and you can use them for your next project. So the Plenty of Patterns Decorative Masks are the Prize Patrol for this week. All you have to do is share this video, comment that you shared, and you're entered into Prize Patrol. Now, I think I have a Maker's Monday that I've done in the past with decorative masks. So if you're wanting to see that, make sure to check out my YouTube channel so you can see all of my past Maker's Monday projects videos all in one spot without having to scroll on Facebook through all of the posts that I have on there. All right, like I said earlier today, I am kicking off Halloween crafting season with the Bag of Bones stamp set and coordinating dies. So here is that set. The Bag of Bones stamp set is a set of 23 photopolymer stamps, meaning they're completely see-through and clear. You can see exactly where you're stamping. Now, what drew me into this stamp set is that not only does it have sentiments and images both in one, which is one of my favorite things about stamps, but it also has all these different little like arms and legs and different positions that you can create skeletons like dancing or walking, which is a really fun way to kind of step up these images. Now this set really reminds me of kind of like New Orleans. So I went to New Orleans last summer and I went to some of the grave sites, and just with like this big hat and the beret with the scarf and just the different dancing, like if you are into creating some kind of like Mardi Gras scene or just Halloween using skeletons, the Bag of Bones stamp set is really great for that. Now the coordinating dies, look at all of these dies that you get. Now not only are there dies to cut out images in the stamp set, but there's also dies to create scenes with as well. So we have these fences, you have like a little mausoleum, you can create a tombstone, there's some bats and moon, little bone pieces to do like shaker cards with. And then there's other things that you can put on the skeletons that aren't stamps, like a little fedora, there's a cowboy hat, there is, where was it? I thought I saw like a little, yeah, there's a cane and a bow tie, some cowboy boots. So you can really get into some fun themes with these skeletons, and they don't just have to be your traditional spooky skeletons. You can really have some fun and like play up the look of the skeletons as well. Now, if you want to take things just a step further, you can actually add brads to the ends of each of the arms and legs and kind of make a movable skeleton with all the different pieces that you put together. Now that's really for those really avid crafters that want to put those together, but these are really fun to create some movable skeletons with for Halloween. Now our 3 projects today are featuring the stamp set, the dies, and also the coordinating designer series paper. So the Them Bones designer series paper, I kind of gave a little bit of a showcase of it last week when I showed you this little treat box that I made. This has the Them Bones stamp set or the designer series paper, but that's paper that I used in more of a fall pattern. But today we're going to use them more to create some fun projects like these. Now this is also incorporating one other stamp set, but it's a really fun way to kind of incorporate the Them Bones designer series paper with the Bag of Bones stamp set and dies. Now, one project that I showed yesterday on my Facebook page, here, this is the project. Now this I wanted to do for Makers Monday, but it had just a little bit more to it that would have taken a lot of time and could have gotten potentially quite messy. So I did some heat embossing on the skeletons here. So I stamped on black cardstock with Versamark ink, and then I heat embossed with white embossing powder. Now, I love heat embossing, but like I said, for Makers Monday, it can get a little messy if I accidentally knock something over. The heat gun is kind of loud, so I use this as a showcase project. Now on here, I also have the glow-in-the-dark bats and ghosts. Now, unfortunately, when Stampin' Up! Opened this morning from the weekend, these items are no longer available. They are sold out and will not be replenished. And that is because Stampin' Up! They sold out the first round, they sold out a second round, and by the time they would get more of those embellishments in, it would be past the date of the catalog. So unfortunately, the glow-in-the-dark Bats and Ghosts are sold out, no longer available. But when I created this project, they were still on the to be determined list of when they were coming back. So this is using that Them Bones Designer Series paper. This has some really great patterns if you are a traditional scrapbooker, to be able to use this Designer Series paper in scrapbooking, not only just card making. So some fun pattern paper there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our projects. Now, don't forget, each week on my website, stampinblondie.com, I have a free project PDF tutorial. This has all of the items and the dimensions of the prices that I'm using on the 3 projects that I'm creating here today. And there's the back side, so don't forget that last project there. But you can go ahead and print that out from my website. It's free, and then pair that with this video to make your own Makers Monday projects. Now, if you are wanting this week's class, I offer these projects in a class to go. So this is what the kit looks like. It has all of the project pieces that you need for Designer Series paper and cardstock to create the projects this week. There are no stamped images, but if you place an order of $35 or more on my website, Stampin' Blondie, right here, it's on the bottom, using that host code, I will send you this week's Makers Monday class kits. If you place an order of $50 or more, I will send you the embellishment of the week that I'm featuring as well, which are the classic matte dots, and we'll be using these on our projects here today. So let's go ahead and get started. We are actually going to do this little treat box here first. So let me get that kit out. So this treat box is really fun because it holds my absolute favorite candy inside, Reese's peanut butter cups. I love these things. And I swear the pumpkins, the Easter eggs, and the Christmas trees taste much better than regular Reese's peanut butter cups. So these little fun shapes always taste better. I swear to it. So this little treat box is what we're going to create. It fits the Reese's right in here. These I found at my local grocery store. They're sold in single packs, so you can just buy them individually and you'll know how many you want to hand out. Then you can go and purchase those as well. Now, I like to make a little template for my my card here, or my box that I'm going to make. Now, the dimensions of this project are found on that PDF tutorial. Now, I made this here so I don't tell you that the wrong dimensions, so you don't have to write any of this down. It's all in the free tutorial, but I just wanted to create a little template for myself to remind me what I need to do for that. So the first thing we have is a piece of gorgeous grape cardstock. This is cut to 3 3/4 by 9 1/2. And I'm gonna bring in my trimmer here and we are gonna do some scoring. So let's get this off to the side here. I use my trimmer upside down. I don't know why, I just like the way the numbers are, and I like the little hinge on the left side. It's kind of strange. All right, when you get the dimensions on the PDF, you'll see that it says score long side, score short side. Long side, short side. So we're gonna score the long side first, and the first thing we're gonna do is score this at 1 3/4, 5 1/4. Oh, I need to get, oh wait, I'm gonna have to do it this way so you guys can see. 1 3/4, 5 1/4, 5 1/4 this way. Hold on a second. Because I flipped it around, I'm all confused now, but I'm just gonna score this one part off camera. So we're 1 3/4, 5 1/4, because I need to be able to see it down here. There's no 5 1/4 up here because the little hinge is in the way. So I'm just gonna line it up on this end, but I'll let you know it's 5 1/4. And then also score at 6. Okay, now we're gonna score on the short end, which is this side here, and we're gonna score at 3/4 of an inch. Courtney, my husband agrees with your Reese's assessment. Yes, the Reese's assessment, I'm telling you, the trees, the eggs, and the pumpkins all taste better than Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't know what it is. Somebody said more chocolate to peanut butter ratio. That's probably it. All right, so we have, it's kind of hard to see with this paper, but you can see we have 2 score lines here, 2 score lines here, and 2 larger sections and a smaller section here. So we're gonna move our trimmer off to the side. And the first thing we're gonna do is down here, there's this little tab and this box here. We're gonna cut to the first score line there. And we're gonna cut this whole section off. There we go. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. So there's that little tab there and this semi-bigger tab here. We're gonna cut that whole section off. Peggy, I'm so happy you liked your paper share. You're actually gonna have one more package coming to you because the glow-in-the-dark paper came. So I will package that up and send that to you as well. Okay, we also have, so we have this little smaller tab. I'm trying to get it in the light so you guys can see it. But there's a little box right here, and we're just gonna cut up to the first score line. We're not gonna cut that tab off. That is what's going to help us keep our box all together. So there's our small tab. Same thing on this side. We're just gonna cut up to the first score line, and then we create this little tab right here. Now what I like to do, personal preference, is I like to take these tabs and just trim a little angled edge off. This kind of helps the tab tuck in a little bit easier when you have it all folded up. So you can see here it has these little small notches in the paper. It just helps it tuck in a little bit smoother and helps it lay a little flatter. So I like to do that, cut these little notches in here as well. Now one other thing we're gonna do, this is the top of our box. This is the little tab that tucks on the top, and I'm just gonna cut those at an angle as well. That'll help it kind of pop in and out a little bit easier when it's not completely straight. All right, we're gonna use our bone folder now to crisp up our lines. So where your scores are, when you do a score, there's a peak side, I call the mountain side, and the valley side. The valley side is what we're gonna fold in on all of these little tabs here. All your score lines, you're just gonna fold in. So they're all going the same way. The bone folder works really good for crisping up these lines. And one last one here. So you can kind of see how the box is going to, oh, I missed one score line there. And there. You can kind of already see how the box is gonna start coming together. Now, I like to flip it over, and the best adhesive that I found for putting these little boxes together is Tear and Tape adhesive. It helps keep the box together, it's strong adhesive, and you don't have to wait for anything to dry. So we're gonna take 2 pieces of Tear and Tape, and on the farther tabs, we're gonna add 2 strips of Tear and Tape. The Take Your Pick tool is really good for getting off the backing of your adhesive. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna work one side at a time. For me, it's a lot easier to do one side at a time than trying to fold both sides and make sure everything is lined up. So this middle tab, we're gonna tuck that in, and then this tab with our adhesive, you're gonna line that up to this side of the box. You just want to make sure everything is flush and pushed together for that adhesive to really hold. All right, same thing on the other side. Your tab, small tab's gonna tuck in, and then your tab with the adhesive is gonna go on the inside, and then this tab here on the outside. All right, so there we have that little box that is for our Reese's. And now we're gonna decorate the outside. So we have a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock, as well as a piece of Them Bones Designer Series paper. So we're gonna add our piece of pumpkin pie first. Hi Lisa, I hope you had a great day today. It's Monday, but still, I hope you had a wonderful day. All right, and we're gonna add our piece of Designer Series paper right on top. And that'll go in the middle right there. And again, the dimensions for all that are on that project PDF tutorial. All right, we are going to stamp. Here's our side by side. We're gonna stamp the skeleton. Now I'm using the full-size skeleton from the stamp set. There is one where it's just the torso and then you can add all the legs and everything, but I'm using just the full-size guy. He's much easier to stamp with when you're just doing these single skeletons. And we're gonna use Gorgeous Grape ink. And I just re-inked this up yesterday, so should be nice and juicy. There we go. It's kind of dark just because I re-inked it all the way, but if you notice that your stamp's not very dark or it's got some missing ink, it's probably needing to be re-inked. All right, we are gonna use our Stampin' Mini machine, our cut machine. All of these dies fit in the mini Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, so we don't have to get out the big machine for all of our crafting. And because we are die cutting what we've already stamped, we want to use some washi tape to hold down our dies when we run it through the machine. This will really help our die stay in place and not wiggle around as you run it through. If you don't use any kind of tape to hold this down as you run it through the machine, it could shift and shimmy and then you'll have to restamp your image. All right, so let's run this through the machine. We're gonna use the machine on all of our projects, I think, today. Yep, all of our projects, maybe. Just kidding, all but one. And we're just gonna gently pull off that washi tape. Now, even though it's paper tape, washi tape, it can rip your paper, so just be careful when you lift it up. And here is our little die cut skeleton. He's so cute. I love that. And from this piece of paper, we're gonna stamp our sentiment. So it says Bonjour, and we're gonna stamp that in pumpkin pie. And I'm just gonna use the edge of this leftover cardstock for my sentiment. And we're just gonna trim around this for that part. So a great way to maximize your cardstock and these little leftover pieces from die cutting. We all have these scraps and these little tiny sentiments work really well on them. So there we go. All right, and now we're gonna assemble the rest of our box. So the back of the skeleton, because he is so thin, you can see this was actually a other piece of paper that I used. But we are gonna add just a little bit of liquid glue on him because it'll help hold it down better than Stampin' Seal. Stampin' Seal is too wide for this. There we go, and I'm just gonna kind of hold that into place for a few seconds to let that get on there. Now while that is adhering, we're gonna cut some Stampin' Dimensionals for the back of our sentiment. And this is gonna go on our box here. Right there. Now, as a final touch, I couldn't find any pumpkin pie embellishments that I had that are current to be able to show you guys. But the classic matte dots are great because they come in white, vanilla, gray, and black. And the best part is that you can use Stampin' Blends to color them and make them any color that you want to match your project. So I'm using the dark pumpkin pie Stampin' Blend and the marker side, and I'm just gonna color my classic matte dots, 2 of the white ones. And because these are alcohol-based markers, they tend to dry very, very quickly. So I can just build my color on here and get them as dark as I want. There we go. And then I'm just gonna use my Take Your Pick tool, and we're gonna add 2 of those little dots down here in the lower right corner. And then we have our little Reese's pumpkin in our first project featuring the Bag of Bones stamp set. I hope you guys liked this project. Like I said, you can use this little treat box. Normally the Christmas trees and the Easter eggs are about the same size. So with the Christmas trees that are coming out, you could even make these into little Christmas treat boxes, but perfect for the little Reese's pumpkin that you can find. And I have 2 now, so I'm excited. But this is our first project. I hope you guys like this little treat box. A fun way to be able to kind of dress up some of your Halloween offerings. I know I don't have any kids, but I have coworkers that I'd like to give little Halloween treats and stuff to. So that's a fun way to kind of gift some treat packages to coworkers or family or those that you have that you really want to gift something nice to. All right, our second project here, this features the little dancing skeleton, and we're gonna put a little fedora on him. This uses Pumpkin Pie Parakeet Party Gorgeous Grape and Tuxedo Black inks. So we're gonna make this little dancing skeleton guy kind of come to life. So let's get our class kit. The first thing we have is a piece of basic white cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm gonna fold that and use my bone folder here to crisp up my line. Next, we have a piece of Them Bones Designer Series paper. Isn't this really fun? It's little bats and some moon with stars. The back side is this really fun kind of purple color, but we are gonna use this side, and we're gonna adhere this down to our card base here. And that's gonna go right in the middle. There we go. Now I am gonna use a piece of basic white cardstock, and I have my trusty well-used grid paper because we're gonna stamp these cats and dogs down the side. So we are gonna probably do some stamping off, so you just wanna make sure you have your workspace covered. And we're gonna use Tuxedo Black ink. We're gonna start with the cat and just stamp it off to the side here. And now we're gonna alternate the cat and the dog back and forth. Just going down the side of the paper. I thought these little skeleton dogs and cats were cute too. There are dies to go along with this, so you can create a whole cat and dog scene along with the skeletons, the normal skeletons. And then I'm just kind of stamping where some like little loose areas would be. All right, there we go. So we just created this fun little side pattern of our paper down the edge. Because I didn't want it to be too plain. I wanted to kind of jazz it up a little bit. Now, speaking of being too plain, when I added on this skeleton first, I didn't have the purple background, and it kind of got lost in the white with the white skeleton. Even though there was some Parakeet Party, I really wanted it to stand out. So I did some blending brush ink on the back with gorgeous grape ink. So we're gonna do that right now. These are our blending brushes. They are black. I got these before Stampin' Up! Came out with their own, but I have designated blending brushes for different colors so that I don't mix and match my blending brushes with different inks. So if you've never used a blending brush before, what you do is you take it and you swirl it in your ink pad, and then you kind of tap it on your scrap paper off to the side just to get any excess ink off the tip of the brush. And then you're gonna swirl the ink onto your paper. It creates a very soft blended look of the ink, and it is buildable. So if you don't like how much you put down there the first time, you can just add more and more ink, and it'll get darker and darker when adding that color there. So we just have a little bit of purple spot on the back here. Now before I close this up and put my blending brush away, I also used it on the outside of the Happy Halloween sentiment. So I just took the blending brush and just kind of gently rubbed it over the edge of the ink. Because I'm not swirling it on my paper or anything, I don't need to tap it off onto my spare grid paper. I'm just gonna ink around the edges here. And it's okay, it needs to be unevenly inked. So this is gonna be meant to look like it's not perfect ink blending around the outside. So there's that. You can kind of see it's all, it looks distressed, but it is just got some purple around the edge. Again, just so it's not so stark white that it does have a little bit of pop of color on there. Okay, we're gonna put that away and we're gonna stamp our skeleton now. And he is gonna be in Parakeet Party. So this really bright green. When I think of Halloween colors, I think of like 4 colors. Obviously your traditional black and orange, but then also purples and greens, like your really bright purples and your really bright greens. So when you're thinking about Halloween crafting, it doesn't just have to be orange and black. You can play around with some funky colors, some greens and purples, and do some really fun things with those as well. All right, our Parakeet Party. We're gonna stamp our skeleton right here. And we're also going to die cut the little fedora at the same time. So we're gonna cut this out because I don't need all of this white, and it's not gonna all fit through the mini machine. And then we just need a little bit of the black for the fedora. Okay, now my skeleton die with the washi tape. Just gonna line that up. And the washi tape will hold it in place. You can reuse washi tape over and over. I've used these 4 pieces that I have here attached to my desk. I use them as many times as I can until they lose their stickiness. So washi tape, 1 little roll can go a long, long way. All right, we're gonna bring in our machine. And where did I put the plates? There they are. So we have our plates, we've got our skeleton, and then our little fedora is gonna go on here all at the same time. You don't need washi tape for the fedora because you're not going to die cut anything that is stamped. So you don't have to hold that into place. There we go. And our little, there's our little teeny tiny fedora piece, and it does emboss it. There is a line across the middle of it where it is embossed, so it's kind of hard to see that because it's black. But there we go. A little skeleton. Take off our washi tape slowly. Okay. And move our plates out of the way. And for our fedora, we're gonna add just a little bit of Memento ink on there to hold it into place. What I like to do is put a clear block on there. While that is holding, we're going to stamp our sentiment that says Happy Halloween, and we're going to do that in pumpkin pie. Now, if you saw my Facebook post yesterday, I said, am I crafting with pumpkin pie ink or is it Cheeto dust all over my hands? And our next project, you'll see, it was definitely pumpkin pie ink, but it could have been Cheeto dust too. So we have our Happy Halloween sentiment that has the purple all around the edge, and our little skeleton here, and we're going to glue Mr. Skeleton to our card with a little bit of liquid glue. There we go. And he's going to go right there. Our sentiment piece is going to go on with Stampin' Dimensionals, but before we do that, we're going to add this to our card base. And this is going to go on with Stampin' Seal. And right in the middle. So you can still see some of the bats around the outside. And our Happy Halloween with our dimensionals. There. And then our last touch, we're going to come in with those classic matte dots, and I'm going to use 2 of the small black dots, and those are going to go in the upper left corner of the card. And there is our second project with the Bag of Bones stamp set. I love the little cat and dog along the bottom, the dancing skeleton, and then that purple light in the back just kind of gives it like a black light look to it. So I hope you guys like this project too. That is our second one with the Bag of Bones. All right, our last project here is this really fun Starburst one. This features the Rays of Light stamp set. This is from our annual catalog. It is a background image stamp, so it is one big large stamp. Now, Stampin' Up! Discontinued our Stamparatus, which was our stamping platform, back at the end of April when the new catalog debuted. So using these really large stamps can kind of get a little difficult if you are not super careful with how you use them. So they are literally the full size of this area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick to using these background images without using the Stamparatus. So the first thing we have here is a piece of basic black cardstock, and we're going to make an easel card. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and we're going to use our bone folder to crisp up our line, and we can set that off to the side. Now, my favorite piece of designer series paper from the Them Bones designer series paper pack is this one right here. Now, you may say this just looks like regular houndstooth design, black and gray, nothing too exciting. But when you zoom in really close, the black, it's bats, and it has little smiley faces on it. So it is my favorite piece of designer series paper in this pack because it's just a little subtle hint that they took using the basic houndstooth pattern, and then they made the little bats on the black portion. And there was that other side of that other designer series paper that I used for the project. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add this designer series paper to our card base, and that's gonna go right in the middle of our basic black. There we go. Veronica, I've seen you do that stamp set a few times, and I think it's a must set. Yes, this is a good set. I love this one. This is a really good stamp. And it's good because you can use this for so many different occasions. Like I made a Halloween card with this. I've made a card with that little bird with the glasses with this set. Very fun stamp set. All right, we're gonna work on that orange background now. So what we're gonna do is I have already stuck the stamp into the case. So on the back of our stamps, they have a big sticker that you can put on, and it's stuck to the inside of the case. Like it's not gonna come out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this as my stamping platform. So I've got my pumpkin pie ink, and we're just gonna ink up the stamp while it's still in the case. We're not gonna remove it from the case at all. And we're gonna kind of use this upside down. So I've got everything is inked here. Now this stamp is not, like you can see there, it's not a perfect stamp. There are like little white negative spaces in the stamp, so it's not gonna be fully inked and look perfect when you stamp it. So I've got my piece of basic white cardstock, and what we're gonna do is we're going to just gently lay this onto our paper. You don't wanna move your paper around. So once it is down, it's down. Don't move it at all. So what I like to do is just take a stamp block and kind of gently rub it over the entire piece of cardstock. You don't want to go too far off the stamp and the cardstock because there is ink around the outside here. You don't want it to get all over your piece of paper. So I'm just gonna use this as my, basically the press on the Stamparatus. We had the plates to kind of press it down. I'm gonna use my clear block instead. All right, now I'm gonna take my pick tool with the spatula end, and in one corner, I'm gonna gently lift it, and I'm just gonna pull straight up. So there is our inked up card. Now, to clean this, you may be saying, well, how do I clean it when it's in there? I just take a baby wipe and wipe it off. You could use the stamp chamois. My chamois is big, and I don't want to use it on this big project. So that's how I got Cheeto's hands yesterday, because I was cleaning this off, so I had orange all over my hands, but that's all water-based ink, so it's gone today. After you wash your hands a few times, it comes off. But I'll just use this with a baby wipe and wipe that off, and then we have our stamped image here. Now what I like to do is I'm just gonna trim off the sides that may have not gotten as much ink on it as before. So I'm just gonna take my trimmer and trim off just little strips of that white where maybe it didn't get inked up very well. And there, right there. So then we have our, so I'm gonna put it this way on my card, but there's our kind of ray of light stamp using the pumpkin pie. And here's our project, so we'll bring that back in. Now we're gonna add this down to our card base, and we're gonna stamp our skeleton using that Parakeet Party ink again. But we are going to stamp it and punch it out with this is the new Modern Oval punch. So here is the punch. This is in the September through December mini catalog. So this is a new punch that we have. Now normally I would stamp then punch, but because I don't need the whole skeleton, I'm just gonna punch this out and we're gonna stamp the skeleton right on here. So I'm gonna bring in my grid paper again, if I can find it. I know it's right in front of my face. It is, yep, right there. So we've got our trusty grid paper and our skeleton with the Parakeet Party. And you're only gonna see about half of the skeleton. So that's why you need your grid paper. There you go. We're gonna stamp a little bow tie on him with Gorgeous Grape ink. And like I mentioned earlier, the stamp set has all these fun different things that you can put on him, like scarves and cowboy hats, and I like the bow tie though. It's really fun. So there is the skeleton with the little bow tie. And while we have our gorgeous grape open, we're gonna stamp our sentiment, and it says, "No bones about it, you're a sweet friend." Now I tried to put this sentiment on the Reese's box, but it was too long for the box. I thought it would have been a really fun sentiment for the treat box, but unfortunately it was just too long for that tiny of a box. And we're gonna trim this at an angle here on both ends. And now we're gonna assemble. So the back of our skeleton piece, we're gonna add dimensionals, just a couple of them. You don't need very many for this. I actually wasn't planning on getting this punch at first, but then as always, I saw some fun projects with it, and then we used it at my retreat. So I had to get it, of course, to make the retreat projects. But I'm liking it more and more. I didn't get the stamp set that it coordinates with. I just got the punch because I knew I wouldn't use the stamp set, but I would use the punch. All right, we're adding, on the sentiment piece, we're adding half of it to be liquid glue, the other half with a Stampin' Dimensional so that it is all one level. And then our final touch, we're gonna come in with our gray elements this time. So we used white ones, black and gray, and we're gonna add 2 of the small dots in the upper right and 1 down here, lower left. And that is our third project today, featuring the Bag of Bones bundle from the September through December mini catalog. So I hope you guys like this project. Very fun. I like the way this ray of light is like coming out from behind the skeleton. Very fun, bright color project. So I hope you guys like that one too. All right, let's bring in all 3 projects that we worked on today, and let me know which one is your favorite in the comments here today. We have our ray of light stamp here with our orange, our cats and dogs, and then we also have our little treat box that we used with the Reese's pumpkin, my absolute favorite. So let me know in the comments today which one was your favorite. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the projects, and I had a really fun time crafting with you guys today. All right, now next week, because it is a holiday, there will not be any Makers Monday. It is Columbus Day, so I have the day off from work, so I will be taking a break from crafting. But next time, in 2 weeks, we are going to continue the Halloween crafting series with the Tricks and Treats bundle, and here is kind of a little sneak peek project that I created. Now, we're not going to be making this project, but I'll show you a project that I did make with this. So this has some fun vampire and Frankenstein looks to it. Really fun with these little guys that you can build. But this is what this is the bundle we'll be using in 2 weeks for Makers Monday. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that as well. Well, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. As a reminder, if you would like this week's class kit to go, place an order on my website using the host code that's posted here for an order of $35, and I will send you this week's Makers Monday class kit. If you place an order of $50 or more, I'll send you the embellishment of the week as well. Now, don't forget, 2 weeks, Makers Monday, we continue our Halloween crafting series, and I look forward to seeing you then. I hope you have an amazing week, and